Welcome to a Little Help podcast, where understanding life cycles can lead to bigger and better changes. Okay. I'm not going to...
I'm here. You can
Okay. We have Minnie here today, but she wants to be on audio. Okay. But we have Leslie. She was here with us before on, I believe it was episode 6. Okay, so we're going to do a little something different today. We're going to talk about things that youngins need to stop doing in relationships, or as Mignon say, millennials, and noticing the red flags. Okay. We figured we, are older women and we've been through some stuff. So we're going to start off with Leslie and let's go.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, my first probably main ones, I can't stand a liar. Lying. A man starts lying, gotta go.
I know I did have that. I had that one on there. Basically addictions. And that was one of mine, when you see, a person, there's so many addictions, but I listed some, porn, drugs, alcohol, strip clubs, gaming. These young boys like to game, gambling. I put that on there, going to bars all the time. Lying and being aggressive, with women, hitting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we agree on that. Have you been in a situation like that?
You know what? So neither one of my husbands were physically aggressive. But, my first husband had an addiction problem. So he definitely was a liar. My second husband, it was more manipulation. He was the constantly, sneaking and going through my phone, more emotional abuse. He loved to scream and holler. Now, he wasn't going, hit nobody, but he would scream and holler. It was ridiculous, like to the point we were in the Dominican Republic one time and they called security on him. He was acting such a fool. And, people think, verbal is not that bad. And he didn't necessarily call me names, but just he was a big man, like Suge Knight size dude. And so all that howling and screaming, it's intimidation, all the same. And so, that's definitely toxic. And I won't be bothered with that either. And, when you were talking about all of these addictions, one thing that jumped out in my mind, and this is something that I used to tell my daughter all the time when she looks it up, chooses a husband or really pay attention to, does he care about how you feel? That's the greatest currency in the world. Somebody that just constantly dismisses your feelings. And that's what my second husband did a lot. He told me one day, you don't know what you want. I'll tell you what you want.
Look, I got that on my list.
Yeah. But I was like, what?
But, I have not been in this situation, but I had a friend that was dating someone where the strip club was his revolving door. They knew him by name. She ended up marrying him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then got very aggressive with her, where, he was putting her hands on her and everything. So, that's not love. Youngins, I'm telling y'all now, let it go.
No, that's not love. And you know what? And there are signs, because one thing that I'll say, people will always say, they'll say, well, there was no sign. Everything was perfect. And then all of a sudden he put his hands on me. And I'm always slow to really believe that, because I know I dated a guy once and my daughter was playing around. She was little. She was about 2 on a chair. And he kept telling her to stop, or you're going to fall. You're going to fall, and you know how little kids are. They listening, but they're not listening. And she fell out the chair. And I was in the kitchen. I heard her hit the ground. Of course, I turned around and ran and scooped her up. And he said to me, don't pick her up. That's what she gets. And it was like, ice water ran down my back. Like, what? He's 2. We're not talking about a 6-year-old or, and even then, that's what she gets.
Right.
That just struck me.
I'm sure
so
you.
I was like, oh, that's it. Because see, to me, that's the first clue that too many people dismiss and give somebody the benefit.
Red flag right there.
Right there. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's what they got to learn to recognize. You don't, maybe he didn't mean it, but guess what? I'm not going to take a chance with my child. Because that'll be somebody 6 months from now when he says things like that, I let him get away with it. Now he putting his hands on her. And now I got to go to jail because I didn't kill somebody. So that's just,
Mignon, you was going to say something.
Well, I was going to ask, what have been your experiences with dating someone that you deemed as a liar?
Ooh, that right there, how you say, it just burned a hole in my, because you can literally be sitting there. I had a situation when, where I actually saw this person cheating. And he turned around and said, your eyes are deceiving you.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe that's why you wear glasses now.
These are readers.
Oh,
yes, literally. I'm right there.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes.
So they'll get to the point where they'll make you feel like it's something wrong with you. Well, that's what they try to do. And some women, maybe I didn't see it right. Maybe red flag.
And the challenge is, and this is the truth, it has been for me. So there was a guy that I really liked. I mean, I really liked this guy, and his family loved me. He was Jamaican, and he was like a super handyman. Anything I needed, he was a acts of service kind of person. And he had a very caretaking sort of side to his nature. So there was something, he worked for the airline. Great job. There were some great things about this guy. But that Negro was a liar. Okay. And it took maybe about 5-6 months for me to figure it out. And I was like, you're lying. Oh, no. And how it just blew up on him. I came over to his house one day. And I was about to leave, and he said, oh, baby, don't forget your jacket. And he tossed it to me, but it wasn't my jacket.
Oh.
Right. Oh.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, this ain't my jacket. And he said, oh, it must be mine. I said, it's got shoulder pads. You wearing women's clothes? Oh, no. Oh, it must be my, I was like, just stop lying. Just stop. And so, I ended it. He certainly kept trying. It went on for like a year. His mother to this day sends me a text every week to this day. But I told her, I was like, your son is a liar. My thing is, you're a grown man. You don't have to lie. If you want to date different people, then be honest and say that.
You just to find a man that's just going to be straight up honest and, tell you that, I want to date other women. And that's the question like that you can put out there, when you first start dating a man, what are you looking for? What do you want with us? What are we doing here?
What happens when the man tells you what he wants to do up front? Like, hey, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want to hang out or maybe be friends with benefits. But then his actions don't match that.
Well,
what do you mean? Wait a minute. What do you mean his actions don't match that? That now he's wanting
so
what?
Now, now that you guys are kind of like talking, you're in this talking phase, then he starts to kind of love bomb you in ways like do all of the things that basically you've laid the groundwork for to say, this is what I experienced in my last relationship. And these are the things that went wrong. And so that man shows up and he does all of the opposite things based on what you've told him. And now you've fallen in love and you feel like y'all are in it to win it. You're in a relationship now. But then he still is operating from a space.
Then that's your fault.
Oh, well, yeah, that's your fault.
That's your fault.
You in the beginning.
Because he told you in the beginning.
Right. He didn't lie.
He did not lie.
I mean,
Well, that's why I say he was honest up
men.
front, but the actions don't match the words.
Well, no. Well, now, wait a minute. Okay, now see, let me
Now,
say
this is not me personally experiencing this. I'm just throwing this out there.
Wait a minute. I just want to ask the question. Are you saying that if you all agree that you're just friends with benefits, he can't be really sweet and good to you?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But in this scenario, this person used the information that the woman shared with him about her
to
past
make her
experiences.
fall in love with
Right.
him.
Love bomb her.
Yes, he love bombed her. And then she kind of flipped and was like, oh, he loves me. We're in this, I think this is getting more serious.
That's her fault. Because then if that's the way you feel, then we need to have another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're doing all of this stuff. You said this is what you want. Where are we? It's time to have another conversation.
Has something changed? Because I think that the key piece, so this is just how I think young women should look at it. You have to know what you want from the outset, right? So if a man says, hey, I don't want a commitment, I want friends with benefits, I don't do those kind of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's me.
Mm-hmm. Now,
we could be friends, but I don't exchange juices with people that are exchanging juices with others.
Gone, girl.
You better say it.
I was strictly friends with the guy. Strictly friends, never held hands. No kiss, no nothing, just strictly friends, and we would go hang out, maybe let's go grab something to eat. Okay, cool, let's go. We would go to the store, shop, whatever. And I was still on the same level as because when I started off, I said, I'm not looking for nothing. I'm not trying to date. We can just be friends. Period. Period. Well, they started falling in love. Never said that to me. I found out I was gone and they knew I wasn't at the house at the time. I had went to a party. And when I came home, girl, why did I have spray painted on the back of my garage, BITTCH?
No,
it was BIICH. They couldn't.
It was BICTH.
No, they spelled it wrong.
That is
It was
wrong.
It was spelled BII.
No, that is wrong. He spelled it BICTH.
Someone still spray paint that on your garage.
On my garage. And I had no idea because I wasn't dating anybody. So I'm like, who could have done that? Who?
He also keyed your car.
Keyed my car took all the way. So they knew where I was at. It was dark outside. Keyed my whole car. And I had no idea who had done. I'm like, who could have? I'm not seeing nobody. Right. And I had talked to two of my good friends. And do you know that they both threw out that same name? I said, you got to be kidding me. And eventually, I had to play God on them. I just played stupid. Like, you know what? I don't know who did it, but you know what? What goes around, come around. Karma is something. God don't like ugly. Well, And sure enough, they came up to me and said, I did it. They felt guilty.
Wow.
They admitted it.
Did they pay to get your car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I mean, at least they had some decency.
Mm-hmm. But you just got to be so careful and have, communicate with people on what you're looking for and what you want. You got a guy that's coming in to play games. And let's say this girl is on her last leg. She like, look, I'm going to try this one more time.
Yeah.
You already know you coming in to play a game. You already know you're not about to commit to this woman. That's enough to make a person, walk over the edge. You don't know what state of mind a person is in. People need to stop playing games with people's emotions and feelings.
Yeah, no, look, so my last relationship, I dated a man that was gay. Talk about lying. This brother is very masculine, very handsome, very successful. Like on paper, he's everything that you would want.
Mm-hmm. They always are. They always are in the beginning.
Beautiful home. And no, my clue should have been he was so good to me. If I said I wanted to go to Napa, okay, he's booking the tickets. If I said I wanted to go wherever, he was that attentive. But it took me a year because we didn't live in the same city. I live in Houston, he lived in Dallas. And so it took about a year for me to finally realize something wasn't, something wasn't. First of all, I found within myself, I liked him, but I was never, usually at a year in, I've got some real feelings, probably in love.
Yeah.
I wasn't falling in love. I was I was attracted to him, but for something, I don't know, I guess it was just God.
You know what, Mignon? You should have been around because your gate ought to be up.
Okay. Now listen, I have a question though.
Only one person later told me, all the people that met him. My daughter said, "Oh, you're crazy. That man is not. Oh, everybody know he's not. He's not." I'm like, I'm telling y'all. And when I finally confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just got quiet.
And I feel like if that's what you are,
why?
Speak up. Give us the choice to say, well, okay, I'll continue to date you. It ain't like we got something against you or that's your way. That's your way.
Yeah, but you know what? So I went to therapy. I had to go to therapy behind that because I had been lied to before, but that was a whole.
It's the lying thing.
And what my therapist told me was that the age group that he is, African American men, are not going to come out.
They're not going to come up and say, "Hey, this is who I am. If you want to continue to date me,"
he's like, here, because he's always had never been married, but always had long-term girlfriends. She's like, and he will always do it.
Why they just can't be honest?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why was it that what should have tipped you off was that he was too good for you? Isn't that what we're looking for? A man that is... No.
I know. But you know what, Mignon, this is the point. And so I'm so glad you asked that question. It's a doggone shame, right? That it took a man that was not straight to, try to fulfill all my dreams. Okay? But unfortunately, most straight men don't quite think that way. Now, he maybe was doing it because he was trying to make sure I was happy. Because I'm sure it takes a lot of effort to do that, to do that whole thing, right? A lot of effort to just every day make sure that you are, really masculine, that nobody has any,
no idea of your other side. Yeah. That you're not opening up to it.
He's in a fraternity. I won't name the fraternity, but it's one that, that wouldn't roll right within. Okay? I'm telling you, this brother, nothing about him would tip you off. Except for one person told me that they had that feeling. And he was like, he said, I don't know what it was. It was something, I can't even put my feet, but I felt something.
Now, was he gay or was he bisexual?
You know what? I don't know. Let me say, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's but in my book, that means he's gay.
So then if he was, let's say, bisexual, that would be
had he said to me, I'm bisexual, but I really want to date you, my answer would have been no.
Okay.
So a lot of, I guess, we want the honesty, for him to come up and try to, he already knew it was going to be a no, so I'll just lie.
And maybe, but you know what? There are women that I know that would have dated him.
I like what you said. It's a high risk lifestyle.
It is.
You got to consider your own health.
I'm just not interested in taking on that kind of risk.
You got to really be careful. You got to ask the questions. You got to watch. But like you said, he didn't even show you no red flags.
Right. And we did not, I will say that much. We did not have unprotected sex. So I think he was very conscious of making sure.
So I got one. So what about when you're dating a man that is guarded, like they keep their walls up, they won't open up to you, never express their feelings to you, no closeness, just total lack of, vulnerability, and they're just guarded. They just will never open up to you. That's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. I could date him. He got no intimacy. I can't Yeah.
Only when it comes time to hop in the bed. Now you get intimacy for that moment, but where is the hand holding?
Yeah. So intimacy goes beyond just sex.
Right.
Yeah, no,
and that's what I'm saying. You know,
I'm what's the word, Mignon? What they call it's a certain type of personality. It's a certain type of demisexual. I'm a demisexual.
Oh.
So that's when you have to have the emotional intimacy before you can have physical intimacy. I think that's it, right?
Is it demisexual or sapiosexual?
I think it's demisexual. But what bottom line is, we're gonna have to have held hands, have long conversations.
You got a guy that, you know, don't tell you nothing about himself. You know, everything is hush hush quiet. You know, you're in the car. Usually you just start dating, you hold hands. No.
You're right. It is demisexual. I had to look that up. Wait a minute.
They never express how they feel about you, even further along in a relationship. You know, red flags.
Yeah. And I'm words of affirmation too. So they would get nowhere with me. Like you know, I mean, it's maybe not my first one, but you're going to have to say, you know, I need to build intimacy through talk.
You know, even when watching, how y'all say it, Netflix and chill, you youngest, Netflix and chill, you know.
You should leave these things to the young people.
But that's what y'all call it.
I just want to add for the record, Leslie, we are both right. Demisexual and sapiosexual are the same thing. Yeah. Person who is sexually attracted to a highly intelligent person. Or in your case, the emotional connection based on intellect, right?
Yes, right. But but you got to talk, right? So I won't know that unless we really talk. I've been pretty good at getting really quiet, man. Even like Ariana's dad. Did you meet him?
No.
Man?
Yes.
You did, Mignon.
Okay, she did meet him, right. And so, you know, he doesn't really talk around a lot of people, but when he's with me and Ariana as a result too, he don't stop talking. So I'm usually pretty good at getting people to open up. But I've heard, you know, I met a lady very recently and she said that about her husband, that their marriage she's having a hard because he doesn't talk. She's like, my husband just does not talk. And I'm thinking, well,
then just shut down. Now all of a sudden you don't communicate.
Well, how do you end up married to someone that does not talk?
Because they probably started off with everything that you had, the representative. They brought who they really was not, you know. You know, now all of a sudden, you know, and it could be some issues going on in his life. Things change, life change, you know. They don't want to open up. But again, probably need a therapist. What made you just stop talking to me?
Right.
And then how long are you going to stay in this marriage with a person that has absolutely nothing to say to you?
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That would be like torture. That would be like torture to me, for me. I'm a verbal communicator. Like, I don't even understand. I'll be honest. And maybe, Mignon, this is something you could talk about. I think it's toxic the way these young people, all they do is text.
Text.
Brother, you can text me a question or two. After that, don't. I'm not texting a conversation. If you want, you got to pick up the phone and call me. I don't understand.
It's impersonal.
And people have a whole relationship by text. What? That's toxic.
Yeah,
I had, did you have something to say, Mignon?
Well, I was going to say it's definitely impersonal, but I think that some people find it easier to communicate via text. It's less pressure. You can go back and read and reread before, you know, actually sending whatever it is you have to say, as opposed to coming straight off the dome and sounding stupid. That's a little bit, I think, of what goes into it, and then determining whether that person
So did we
is an
sound
introvert
stupid when we was
extrovert.
dating?
I mean,
Because we didn't have text.
Yeah, but you didn't have no, right.
We was
And
on
you could only talk on the house phone so much because you had that one phone in the kitchen with the long
cord.
and everybody was around. So you couldn't really do too much
But
talking.
I think your generation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, y'all use music to kind of, you know, portray how you were feeling in the moment too, even if it's on the phone, like, oh, this song, come on, let me put the phone up to the radio.
If you put
this
that,
how I
we
feel
put
about
the
you,
tape,
baby.
Wait a minute, Les. We would have a tape recorder and have our songs already lined up on the tape recorder and play the tape.
Yeah, I mean, that probably was a little bit true, Minnie.
We did do that. We did that.
Yeah, we did do that. But I still think we talked more.
Yeah. Well, and then also you got to think this generation deals with a lot of anxiety socially specifically. And so I think texting makes it easier for introverts to kind of put themselves out there. Even the online dating becomes a little bit easier where like I can just kind of ride this wave to see how things go before I actually make this commitment. Now, I'm not saying it's right.
But what's bringing, why this, y'all's generation got so much anxiety? What's that?
Right.
I'm confused now. Why y'all got so much anxiety?
Parents.
Okay. now we're going to ask that seriously. Really, why has this generation got so much anxiety?
Honestly, I wish I had the answer. I mean, I don't think there's one clear answer to go by.
Is it social media? Does it make you, are you worried about, do you measure up?
I think for millennials, I don't know if it's social media. I think that for the younger generations, absolutely. It's a lot of comparison and I have to do or look this way. The whole influencer thing, yeah, but I'm not sure with millennials. I just feel like a lot of us have been undiagnosed with stuff for so long, probably. And now we're in this space where we're trying to readjust and live with these things that we were unaware of before.
It's interesting that you said that because I actually saw an interview with Chris Brown the other day. I was talking to Ariana about that. And he was talking about how he has so much anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
we didn't hear that coming up. We did not.
Well, and you also have to think about maybe you didn't have the terms for it when you were coming up either, because mental health was not taken as seriously back then as it is now.
I literally, in my
now
younger days,
more
never,
education, more knowledge about it.
We did not.
I never had.
World was very
I
different.
think you did,
though.
but I think it was a different term for it. It might have been nervousness or butterflies.
I know you all don't want to believe it, but you know what? When we were growing up, and this is the truth, and it certainly was not perfect, but you know. We all kind of grew up with both of our parents in the house. It was, compared to the day, it was very Beaver, like the Cleavers compared to the day.
And we weren't sitting around to have anxiety. We were all out playing and doing things. And we were always busy. Our parents kept us busy.
But there also was very little expression of emotion. It's kids are meant to be seen and not heard. Stay out of grown folks' business or conversations, and so if there is a point where you need to interject.
We talk to each other though. You think that we didn't talk to each other?
We played with each other. We talked to each other. So
right. I mean,
we weren't up under our parents.
We were not up under our parents. Mm-hmm. And even if we learned stuff, because, you would catch gossip or whatever, you didn't say it to the adult, but you might say it to your sister or brother or your cousin or your...
Guess what I heard, girl? Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. It wasn't like we didn't still communicate. Mm-hmm. But we were not up under our parents. Mm-hmm. Look, I remember they put you outside. Mm-hmm. Give you them red cups, them solo cups, put your name on it, and tell you to use water hose. You're going to be running in there.
And if they talking to another adult, you better not have one word to say. Get out of grown folk business. You better not open your mouth.
But you didn't feel stressed.
You didn't feel stressed about it. You didn't feel anxiety about it.
The truth is, we grew up feeling very secure because we did have clear boundaries. So it wasn't, as children, you weren't confused.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of young people are too adultified and they're taking on, these toxic things that their mothers that are experiencing when they should know nothing about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely.
That definitely was how it was when we were growing.
Yeah. And they're not only seeing it there, but on TV too.
Right. Right. Well, I also think about for millennials specifically, the fact that we grew up learning a lot of things that we should be afraid of. Like, I was in the 5th grade when 9/11 happened, and I still can't wrap my mind around why my class was taken to the cafeteria and made to watch this happen, and then have full, obviously we should be having conversations about that, but my fifth grade mind don't understand what I'm
really
seeing,
happening.
and then that instills that sort of fear of we have to prepare for this, and there are going to be more attacks, and oh my God, they also hit the Pentagon, and all of this stuff that's happening. Then we had Y2K, which was like the world is gonna end at midnight on New Year's Eve. Like all of these fear tactics that were just kind of instilled in us, and that's what anxiety is. Anxiety is fear. Anxiety is worry, and it's irrational.
The not
fear
knowing.
is learned.
The not knowing too. Just not knowing.
We don't come into this world being afraid of things. It's a learned behavior. So if everything around me tells me I have to be afraid of competition, of pressure, of, not being the best, of,
not looking the best.
Am I going to be able to survive being on a plane? That's a fear that I'm experiencing right now. Bought a plane ticket and I'm like, I might go ahead and cancel this trip because planes are falling out the sky left and right now. Fear, anxiety.
Has there been another plane crash?
No, but a lot of them happened in a short amount of time, in a few weeks. It's like, it's a learned behavior. It is all of these things that we experience. And now we got kids, and it feels so normal because we see it all the time, that are dealing with these school shootings. And now they have to do
something that we
active shooter drill.
We have named a number of things that did not exist.
Did not exist when we were coming up.
Right. There was no school shootings ever. They didn't exist. Even the postal, like going postal, that's a term because that came about like in the 80s or whatever. But when we were kids, none of that existed. None of the like the other fears, even children getting snatched. Now, I'm not saying children never got snatched. But it was not publicized and it was not put out.
The internet.
The awareness of it.
I think the internet, let's just put it right there. The internet is what caused anxiety.
Children getting snatched. It was this little boy, Adam. And his father obviously was a media person, but he ended up having a TV show, helping with people going missing. But that little boy getting snatched brought the whole awareness to child abduction.
But you getting that information happened a lot slower back then than what happens now. Now it is an overload. I mean, immediately, as soon as something happens, people have out their camera phones, they're taking videos, and it's uploaded onto social media. So it's like, even with everything surrounding the elections and everything going on right now, it's so in your face that it wears you down.
It does, because I have not watched the news.
I don't either. I don't even watch the news. And I
still get, you still hear, you like somehow, some amount of it trickles to you, even though you don't watch the news. But I had to stop. I had to turn off.
Let's go on to some more.
Right, let's get back on topic. We don't.
So I have
a good one.
Okay, go ahead.
That's toxic.
Okay.
Unequal effort. Young women have to really understand it's not their job alone to make a relationship work.
That's right.
And if you're with somebody and you're trying, and they're not trying to match your effort, then they don't want it. And you can't make somebody want something.
One-sided relationship.
Right. One-sided relationship.
Realizing that they just not that into you, and that's why you're not getting this matched to the effort.
Exactly. And my daddy told me when I was a teenager, he said, I'm going to tell you, you can't make no man want you. And when a man does want you, there's nothing in the world that's going to stop him from pursuing you.
That's right. You find a lot of the women that, I want a man, I want a baby, that's not going to fulfill you.
And you hope it does.
You hope
it won't.
That something like that does. So you go there, you have this child with this man, and you're thinking, we're going to be together. No, you got a sperm donor.
Yeah, you got a sperm. And I'm not going to say that you can't find peace and happiness, because I was married, I divorced, and I had a young baby, and we were fine. We've had a good life. So you can go on and have a good life with your child, but don't waste your energy. Put your energy on that child.
Right. But if you're looking for that, I want to settle down, get married.
Yeah.
You can keep going. You got this baby, you got a child, you can raise that child and everything, but it's on what the woman is looking for. This is what I want. I want the white picket fence. I want the husband. I want the...
Right.
Don't think because you got pregnant, you're going to get all that.
Well, it's really the mentality of, I'm struggling with something personally, and I think that what will solve this for me is if I meet this or get to this next phase in my life. But if you don't address what the original issue is, what you're battling personally, then you can have the next, the white picket fence. You can have the husband. You can have the kid. But that is not guaranteed to bring you happiness.
Absolutely.
There will still be some sort of sadness that you experience, and you will be questioning why, because you didn't tackle the original obstacle that was placed in front of you to begin with.
Which that obstacle is going inside of you and realizing who you are and loving yourself.
That's exactly
how you going
right.
to love somebody else and you don't even love you?
That's it.
And then you have a lot of y'all, the millennials, that the clock is ticking.
It is.
Yeah. See that?
It is. I mean, let's be honest.
The clock is ticking. I need to hurry up.
No younger.
I need to hurry up and get married. I need to hurry up and have a baby.
Let me explain what it is for me. Okay, so 1, I'm 33. I am not getting any younger, and that's okay. But I know that people have kids when they're in their 40s, and they raise their families and everything. I think about long-term future, right? Now I'm 40. I got this kid. This kid is going to be in my house for at least 20 years. Now I'm 60. That's too long. You've overstayed your welcome already. That is entirely too long for you to be in my space at that age in my life.
So let me say this, though. I think about your generation, because the math is not mathing.
I'm a little different, too.
The math is not mathing. There are more women, way more educated women than there are men, particularly in the African-American community. So number one, if you really want to get married, you have to broaden your horizons. You have to be open to a man that's going to treat you well. I don't care if he's purple with yellow polka dots. Okay? If the man is going to treat you well, that's the man you want to marry and have children with. Right? That's going to love you. That's going to respect you. We talked about the problems. We didn't talk about things they should do. Number one, is he respect you, right? And that's what I would say to any young woman in her 30s that really wants to get married. Broaden your horizons. You're beautiful. There is a beautiful man out there for you.
Stop settling.
Don't limit yourself.
Allow that man when you start dating him, and I keep going back to the Steve Harvey, he said the 90-day rule. I give it 120. You got some jobs to give you 120 days before you can pass probation. Because they're going to show you who they are. They can tell you all day long, oh, I'm this type of person, and I do this, and I do that. And, he'll start off taking you out and treating you. And a month later, he he ain't got the cookie yet. So now all of a sudden, what is this? He gonna show himself. He gonna show himself.
Wait for the representative to get tired.
The representative is going to get tired. Stop hopping in the bed so fast with these men.
Oh, my goodness.
Stop.
Oh, can I get an amen?
Stop.
Amen.
I mean, I don't know why the young women haven't figured that out yet.
And then, another thing that happens is, once you start dating and everything, don't date a man that the only time he calling and texting you is around 7 p.m. Oh, by the time he get to your house, it's 8:30. He coming for one thing. And then the next thing you know, he out the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. He done spent the night with you, got everything you want.
Right, now
he gone.
Right.
And these are the only hours that you see this person. Stop being a 24-hour convenience store for these men.
Ooh.
Right. That's what he's telling you the truth.
Close the shop. They can come in and get whatever they want from you between them hours. Stop.
Right, but see, how you start is how you finish.
That's right.
Oh, don't even start that.
It's like you have no self-respect for yourself. They start texting you at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You picking up the phone.
What about the women that have that fear of, what one woman won't do, another one will, and so then they push themselves into these relationships that are unhealthy.
And that's what they do. They feel like, he gonna go to somebody else. If that's who he is,
then let him.
That's who he is. There's nothing you can do to stop him from going to another woman. If this ain't a God-fearing man, guess what he gonna do? First of all, you at least got to try to get a God-fearing man that might think about not going out there. But a man that don't even, God ain't his head, girl, bye.
And a man, again, if he don't care about your feelings, if he doesn't respect you, why would you waste your time with them?
Why?
This is not happening to me, guys. I just want to keep throwing that out there.
No,
We're
scenarios.
We're throwing up situations that a lot of women see themselves in. A lot of you youngins, we trying to help y'all out.
Are lonely, right? We're having, I think we're having a loneliness epidemic.
They accept it.
A
They
lot of
accept.
women are lonely, and they think they have to accept anything.
They accept anything.
But they absolutely do not. And so they have to set real boundaries for themselves. They have to show respect, because you know what? People respect people to respect themselves.
That's right. Let me go.
I like women that respect themselves. I've never had a man get mad because he couldn't get the cookies. If he liked me, he stuck around and put in the time. Okay. If he didn't and he moved on, it was, we were still cool because nothing, and he would still be respectful. And that's what a lot of, young people have to realize. Every situation that ends doesn't have to end poorly or end it with acrimony. It's good to realize that, hey, we don't have the right connection. But if somebody really likes you, then they're going to put in the time to get to know you. They're going to take you to meet their family. They're going to want to meet your family. They're going to want to meet your friends.
We think we talked about that yesterday, Mignon. You have that man that don't want to take you anywhere. Don't want to take you to a restaurant. Don't want to take you to family functions, company functions, company outings, picnics, trips to the store. But later one of his boys call, hey, let's go. But you're never invited. They never want to take you anywhere. They're not that into you, or they got a fear of commitment. Let them go.
Or something, but whatever.
Let them go. Stop begging men to do stuff for you. Don't beg a man to do nothing for you.
Somebody that treats you that way. And so you want somebody that you can make that puts forth the effort to make a life with you.
That want to show you off. Only time he see you was in the house. Girl, bye.
No.
Girl, bye.
No. And the other thing that I want to bring up, because I think there are a number of Black women that have said this to me. There are brothers that they've dated that maybe weren't as educated. And then at some point in the relationship, they really start trying to put them down and showing them contempt because they were. And that's a problem too. I don't mind. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with dating a guy that don't have a degree. Who cares? As long as he is a good provider. But if he starts putting you down because you are well educated, then I said, no, he got to go.
We talked about that on the controlling side.
Causing issues in the relationship because he feel like he can't measure up.
Because he feel less than, so he start, putting you down, isolating you from your friends and your family, so they can't influence you to leave him.
You want a man that's going to build you up. That's happy that you're smart. That's happy that you're, just as you should be happy about his accomplishment.
But instead, they're making you feel like you're nothing and you're worthless.
Well, because they haven't dealt with their own issues of their personal feelings of worthlessness or uselessness. And so then it's a lot easier to then just project how they feel about themselves onto you. Make you the problem.
The blame game. The blame game.
That's another one.
Making you feel less than, making you feel or let's say, another.
That's the narcissist, right? Mignon, the narcissist, everything.
I told her yesterday she can't keep calling everybody a narcissist.
The narcissists they want to love bomb you, and then everything's your fault.
Yeah.
It's from
they want to control you. Everything is their way or no way. Everything everything is one sided. It's like.
So
they're always right.
Let's talk a little bit more about that controlling factor that happens where it does start off with the love bombing and, you showing this person the world. And then all of a sudden your mood and your attitude switches. But actually, I don't even want to say all of a sudden. It happens gradually so gradually that you can miss it. You don't even know what's happening.
I can speak to this because my second husband was controlling.
Okay.
And I don't know that I'd say he was a love bomber, but what I would definitely say is they're very good at showing you attention.
They
right?
start off as being very
So-
attentive.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said they start off as being very attentive, agreeing with
Yeah,
you.
he very good at showing you attention, taking you out to dinner, spending time.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have no friends. And then over time, he stopped wanting me. Like if we went somewhere and he owned a business, so he liked to go home early because he got up at like 3 a.m. to go to work, right? So he'd want to leave by like 7. We get there maybe 3 o'clock. Everybody's just starting to play, let's say, cards.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to go home. And if I'm like, okay, well, I'll stay and ride back with the kids. Oh, he told my mad.
Mm.
And early on, I get used to give in to that. He wanted me to go home with him. But, it's 7 o'clock. I'm laying in the bed looking at the wall. He's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody else is having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, I'm not going home with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I start telling him before we leave, so
Mm-hmm.
kids are driving separately. They're going to be there. I'm riding home with them.
I'll ride home with them.
And he would be like, okay, that's fine at the time. But when it came time to go home,
It's a problem.
oh, it's a problem. And he'd have attitude. Now he'd go. And then when I get home at maybe midnight, 1 a.m., oh, he'd be up. He couldn't even go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Furious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he'd holler and scream, whatever. I'd pull the covers off my head, go to sleep.
And you've never shown him anything to,
Nothing. But no, so
not trust you. You never show them.
When we married, so we grew up together and had dated in high school, went to college, married different people, both divorced and remarried. And at that point, I have a condition. And so I was on steroids and I gained all this weight.
Mm-hmm.
So when we married, I was like 300 pounds. Okay. And he was kind of heavy himself. I lost all my weight and went down to like 150 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And when I lost my weight, now he's known me since I was like 5 years old. So he's seen me every which way.
Mm-hmm.
Same person. I literally think, I had told him one day, around the time I was like, I'm divorcing you. I think he saw me as a different person.
Mm.
And it was like, he suddenly, now when I was 300 pounds, he didn't care. I
Wasn't nothing to worry about.
I mean, he still always wanted me around.
Don't nobody
him.
want you. You 300 pounds.
Right. He didn't say that, but I guess that's what he was thinking.
But there's a lot of men that like large
like,
women.
wait a minute. That's my point. I said, well, then you sleeping, because I ain't never had a problem getting a man wanting to get with me, ever. And no size, no matter what size I've been. So, yeah, but when I lost that weight, he lost his mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no, the only thing I did was lose weight. But you know what? That's his problem, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the kind of personality. I'm not probably controllable.
Mm-hmm.
But what if he'd been a different personality guy, right? Where his anger was going to be like, okay, now I'm putting my hands on you.
Right. There's levels
now,
to control.
He wasn't that person, but he still was the verbal abuse ended our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if you don't stop this, you're making me not love you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And in a minute, I'm not even going to like you
Mm-hmm.
if you don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't stop, and that's what happened.
I got one we could touch on because we probably got about 5 minutes to touch on this one. Youngins.
Yeah.
Stop dating married men. Stop dating men that's going through a divorce, just got out of a divorce. And stop dating men that's in jail or coming out of jail. They kind of like one and the same. These men have been committed for how many years? Do you really think they about to come out or get a divorce and you're looking for a future? You're looking for a husband. They didn't. A lot of married men, when they get out of divorce, they look at it just like, I've been in jail. I've been locked up. I'm not trying to settle down. I'm not about to marry you. I just came out of a marriage. I just got out of jail. Yeah, they need a place to lay their head. But guess what? Once they get out into the world and find a place to lay their head and they get out here back into the world, and guess what they about to do?
Be worldly.
Yeah.
Now, if you're looking for a temporary fix, go for it. because that's all you're going to get is a temporary fix.
Or stop thinking that when you holding them down in jail that they actually want to get out and be with you. They need a place to lay their head.
They need an address.
And once they get to your house, they going to start doing what they do. They going to get to date and they going to be out in the street because now they're reacclimated to society and they want to live. So they're wild oats. And
you talking about men that have been in prison for 10, 12,
20 years.
Right. You
that's like them being married to a woman for 20 years.
There's been a lot of studies that show that how women get HIV is from men that have been incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth the risk for anybody. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that these are men that are naturally gay.
And all of them, not all of them in jail doing,
But people get assaulted in prison. Mm-hmm. I mean, the bottom line is
to make them be.
Nor are they going to come out telling you if they were assaulted. Mm-hmm. So why take the chance? And let me say this, and that doesn't mean I think that brothers are throwaway, right? Because there are brothers that have been incarcerated that need a good woman.
Absolutely.
Okay, but you are absolutely correct. He needs to come out and get on his feet, figure out who he is. Mm-hmm.
Let him date around. Let him, because he's not about to just be with one person.
Let him just find himself. Forget about dating. Let him find himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I worked in a prison system, and I used to work. It's a few times I would be, scheduled to work in the visiting room, and they know who you are. You work there. And dude would look at me and he started laughing because it was the morning. The visitors came in. He over there with this chick. So then they go back. They come back out in the evenings. You got your list of who the visitors are and everything. There go that same dude in there in the evening with a different chick. Right. And he would just look at me and laugh, and I would just sit there while I'm watching the visiting room and just shake my head like, that's a damn shame. Y'all in jail doing this.
Right. And they both giving him stuff, bringing him stuff.
Bringing him stuff.
Putting money on his books.
They have a whole lot of them doing that. You are not the only one.
And you can't, on some level, you can't blame the brother because he in a bad
Absolutely.
Spot, right?
Absolutely.
So, don't
attention.
You're looking for some attention, tired of being locked up. Let me go on to the visiting room. I got this one coming this day, this one coming that day, this one. Come on now, y'all. I seen it with my own eyes. My eyes were not deceiving me. I'm just saying. Y'all gotta stop. If you think this man coming out of a marriage and he gonna be committed to you, no, he's not. No, he's not. You the fallback person. Nope.
I'm looking at your list, and it looked like you got a lot more to say. No, I know, Auntie Leslie, you got a lot more to say too.
Well, I mean, we are right up at the time. I mean, we hit a lot of them. Some of them got kind of condensed. Mm-hmm. But, I would definitely the people that give you backhanded compliments and that passive aggressive behavior. Mm-hmm. I personally can't stand that. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that would look nice, but such and such and such and such. What?
Or you look good for whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Always a button behind it.
Always a butt. Mm-hmm. When you're because at one point, I like to wear my hair short also, right? And now it's growing back out. But at one point when I was married, I cut my hair real short, and he was like, "What would make you think that was a good idea?" I get a million compliments. You're my husband, and even though short hair isn't your thing, you can't even give me a compliment. It looks nice, but because he didn't like short hair,
because he didn't like it.
It was what made you think that was a good idea.
Well, you're supposed to be pleasing him, right?
Well, no,
there we go with the people pleasing. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's and they will, and there are people that will try to get you to think that it's about that. Mm-hmm. To live to please them. No, you got to live for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So
they don't like you. They don't like you.
Mm-hmm. Keep moving. I actually looked this up today. Top 5 reasons for divorce, and I got it out of the Forbes Advisor. The number one, one of the reasons was lack of commitment. Mm-hmm. Number 2 was infidelity. Number 3 was domestic abuse. Number 4 is excessive arguing and conflict. And number 5 was financial problems.
I knew finances was one.
Yeah, I knew finances was, I thought it was going to be number 1.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, people can definitely be abused financially.
There's all types of control. There are levels to it. Physical, emotional, financial.
And we have so much more to talk about, but, we keep it to an hour show. But I just want to say, you're in a relationship with somebody. You're staying in the cycle. You break up with this one, you cover up the hurt, you get with somebody else. You're in that continuous cycle. You have to break the cycle, stop the cycle, and look at yourself. Stop blaming the other person for hurting you. You can't blame that person. You can't blame nobody but you, because you will not stop and look inside of yourself to see what's wrong with you. You have to get out of this cycle, or you're just going to, I'll date this one for a year. That didn't work. I'm hurt. You're going to latch on to somebody else. That broken energy that you have within you is going to latch on to another broken person. So you got to learn to love yourself. You have to look in the mirror to change who you are, to make better choices, to see the red flags. I enjoyed you as always, Leslie. I'm glad Mignon at least came in to do the audio.
Yes.
We're going to have to, we have other topics that we do want to talk about. There are a lot of different games that men play. Other things that we need to talk about and discuss. And I'm sure Leslie will be back. She's getting her own podcast together, and I will be on her show also.
Yes, you will.
And well, we'll talk about that later.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Uncomfortable Truth.
I didn't know if she wanted to talk about it, but yes, I love that. The Uncomfortable Truth. I love it. I can't wait till she get it started. I can't wait to be on her show.
Y'all need to make something called Two Aunties Giving Advice.
We do, and maybe that's what
that might happen too.
We could call it that. With me and you get together, two aunties giving you youngins some good advice.
A series,
right? We'll do that. Just like I'm from the street. She the books. So
I got the title.
That's it.
It's called "Shut Up and Listen."
I like that. I like that a lot.
All right, shut up and listen, y'all. We got to do better. We trying to help you all to not have to take all the steps that we took, not have to go through all the years of hurt and pain that we went through. So if we can shorten that up for you, man, we're gonna try to make that happen. So we're going to get out of here. And as always, continue to love, have faith, believe in your dreams. God can do all things. Just ask for a little help.
It's a wrap.